I'm Sam Crow. I'm a certified armchair general manager. I've gotten kind of tired of tweeting and I decided that I'm going to start talking to a camera and expressing what I think. Sometimes it's a little bit more fun and a lot easier than having to sit there and condense some complicated arguments into a finite number of characters into a couple of tweets. I have quite a bit of interest in hockey analytics, more so because of the processes and the results. Obviously, they're not perfect. I don't think they're ever intended to be perfect, but they certainly tell us a hell of a lot more than gut feelings and traditional ways of thinking do. So that said, that's what I plan on focusing on from here on out. I was for a long time the kind of hockey player and coach who had wanted nothing to do with analytical processes or statistics. I wrote them off as a bunch of mathletes and people trying to make decisions based on what a calculator or a spreadsheet told them. You analytical guys who've been doing this since the very beginning, you've heard all of the rumblings over the years. But after some time, I decided to actually read about this stuff and learn about it and seek to understand it. And the more I read, the more I found that it was the methods had much better or predictive ability than gut feeling or things based on, seen him good analysis or the eyeball test or whatever you want to call it. And I found that it was a lot more accurate than a lot of NHL executives and a lot of NHL scouts were compared to what they were able to do with a lot of transactions, particularly when it comes to my team, the Edmonton Oilers. So that's what this space is going to be about. If you want to learn about it, you want to talk about it, I'm all ears. Otherwise, I don't know, find something else to do. But I can tell you this, analytics and your eyeballs, if you know what to watch for and how to watch this game and what to take out of it, the stats and your eyes should pretty much line up. Well, let's say like 90% of the time. There might be some discrepancies, but as with any analytical method or statistical method of analysis, there's room for error. So dispel that notion right off the hop before you get anywhere else. So today the Edmonton Oilers fundamentally changed their roster with signing Tyson Barrie, re-signing Tyson Barrie, bringing in Ceci, Ceci, Hyman, and trading Ethan Bear. First off, the Hyman signing, I'm a fan of in the immediate here and now. If he's productive for 3, maybe even 4 years out of his contract, it'll probably have been worth it because that's the Oilers' window now with McDavid and Draisaitl. Actually, that window's been there for a couple years now, but now people are actually talking about it. But like Ken Holland said, you can't go for it every year. Even though you have 2 generational talents on your team, you just can't go for it every year. But for some reason, if you can't go for it every year, why the hell do they keep Tyson Barrie on the team and not trade him for assets before he became a UFA? It just so happened that he re-signed. That was luck. Or, depending on how you look at it, it's bad luck, because I don't think Tyson Barrie's that good. I digress. I think Hyman helps in the here and now, like I said. He's a bona fide top 6 player. He's produced at a rate, at a prorated scoring level of, I want to say, 50 to 60 points in the last few seasons. So he's what the Oilers need, no question about it. Can he stay healthy? That's one of the biggest things. He's got a bang and crash style, which we're all going to love to watch that. But can he stay in the lineup? He's also got some knee issues, so we'll find out sooner rather than later. Trading Ethan Bear, I hate it. I think Bear's a top pairing defenseman, or if he's not quite that level now, he will be sooner rather than later. Not that I don't like Warren Fogle, the return. He's a solid bottom 6 player, but you're trading a player with higher upside for a player with potential with a lower ceiling. That's problematic every time you look at it, especially in a cap world where you only have so much to devote to assets. And Ethan Bear is a homegrown asset for a change. one of the biggest problems with the Oilers over the years has been procuring talent and developing players and keeping them. Um, they just did that with Ethan Bear, who I believe was a 5th-round draft pick, and now he's being traded because they decided that Tyson Barrie and Cody Ceci were somehow the answer in their top 4 defense. So, re-signing Barrie, the problem I have with it is he's just not that great. He got all of his points by playing with McDavid and on the power play. If you watch the assists that he had, he really didn't contribute a whole lot in that realm. It's not like he made a bunch of brilliant breakout passes or a bunch of great plays to spring the transition. He rode 97's coattails. And defensively, he's a mess. He's really bad in his own end. And anyone who's honest with themselves and watches the game can tell you that. Cody Ceci had one good year in Pittsburgh where he was merely satisfactory. And that gets him a 4-year, $3.25 million deal. That's ridiculous. It's stupid. Cody Ceci is not a top 4 defenseman. He's barely a replacement level, meaning he's a 6 or 7 defenseman. He's Chris Russell, a right-handed Chris Russell. And in his infinite wisdom, Ken Holland decides that that's who's going to replace Adam Larson. Give me a friggin' break. Adam Larson will never be mistaken for an offensive dynamo, but at least he didn't spend a ton of time in his own zone and can actually, pass the puck or put some points on the board every now and then. Ceci doesn't do anything, and he hasn't for a while. He had, like I said, last year with Pittsburgh, he kept his head above water. Well, he projects to be bad in the coming years. And if you watched him play, you could see that. So, you got a defensive core now with Darnell Nurse, Tyson Barrie, Cody Ceci, and Duncan Keith in your top 4. They're screwed. They are absolutely screwed with that setup. I don't know who's doing the analysis or who's assessing talent in that front office up there in Edmonton, but it's not good. I'll tell you that much. It doesn't line up with the analytics and certainly doesn't pass the eye test. And if it passes the eye test, then you're looking for the wrong things. And I'm very comfortable in saying that. I've played and coached this game for, oh God, good 20, 25 years now. I played at an okay level. Not like I went and played pro or anything, but not a total shit hockey player or a total shit coach. If you want to find out where I played or who I am, you can look me up. It's not that hard. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The whole, did you even play the game? Were you even involved in hockey thing? That's a stupid ad hominem argument. But if you're really interested, you can do some Googling. You can find me. Otherwise, they still don't have a goalie. Bringing back Mike Smith for 2 years was dumb. He had one good season last year, in a shortened season at that, and you're expecting a 39-year-old to continue to do what he did. That's just a terrible bet. And it's the same thing can be said for Duncan Keith. Like, it's pretty obvious now that was just an awful, awful trade. It's one of the worst trades I've ever seen, and I'm not exaggerating. You gave up 2 assets for a player who you traded for the hope of Duncan Keith being what he was 5 years ago, at his full freight with no salary retained. That's a bad bet. It's even worse when you don't retain any salary. It's even worse. It's piss poor asset management. In a salary cap world, you have to be able to identify the most important assets that you have, be able to evaluate them objectively, and understand that you have a finite amount of space to put a team together that can be successful. And if you're going to blow $8 million between Cody Ceci and Tyson Barrie, you're screwed. You are screwed. And again, trading away one of your homegrown assets, who's a hell of a hockey player, in Ethan Bear, for a bottom 6 player. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what's in the water up there in the North Saskatchewan River that those guys in the Oilers front office are drinking. I don't know who's making the decisions there. I don't know who has the sway or who doesn't have the sway. All I know is it's a bad process if those are the results we're getting. So if the Oilers are successful this coming season, great. I'll be as happy as anyone. Um, First and foremost, I want to see them win. They've always been my team. That said, the thought process and the methods that they go through trying to arrive at these deals that they've made today, the trades that they've made recently, and these UFA signings they've made, it just screams a haphazard process. A Ouija board of trying to figure out how to do things, and that tends to end badly. Tends to end really badly. We've seen it for over a decade now in Edmonton. And speaking of a decade, that's the last time that Ken Holland did anything worth his salt as a general manager. So no one should be surprised that he's still stuck in these same flawed processes. A lot of smart people on Twitter, armchair general managers who rely on analytics to drive a lot of their decisions, have been calling the Oilers management bluffs from the Kevin Lowe era to the Steve Tambellini era to the Peter Chiarelli era and now into the Holland era. They've been right about this more often than not for years now. And if you're not willing to recognize it, then that's your problem. The evidence is right there in front of you. If you care to take the time to look at it and actually consider it. So I guess we'll finish off for there. I don't know if anybody will actually watch this, and frankly, I don't care. This is a little bit more fun than tweeting it all out, though. Now, I'm also not in my parents' basement, contrary to what a lot of others idiots out there like to say, with people who rely on statistical analysis to help inform their decisions. It happens in all kinds of walks of life. Why should it be any different than hockey? And for those who have a problem with it, guess what? They're here to stay. They're here to stay. The best professional organizations utilize them and utilize them well. Tampa Bay, Carolina, Vegas, Colorado, those are just a few off the top of my head that have deep analytics departments and see results all the time. So, I'm Sam. I look forward to putting another video up next time the Oilers do something stupid, which I'm sure is not too far away. Quick recap. Okay with Hyman deal. Don't really care about the last 3 years. Probably trade him and retain some salary at some point. He helps here and now. He's a really good player. The Cody Ceci signing is stupid. It's borderline disastrous. Re-signing Tyson Barrie doesn't do anything except block Evan Bouchard's development. That's bad enough. Then the combination of Ceci and Barrie now drives Ethan Bear out of town. That's a problem. That's a big problem. And with that trade, Fogel's a decent player, but his ceiling is probably in the bottom 6. So you gave more to get less. That seems to be the going rate these days in the Oilers organization. So anyway, we'll see how it plays out. We'll talk to you.